And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to some Kayfabe chats here as I sit with my brother as we talk about some pro wrestling that was this past couple of weeks. This is your host, JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens. This is my catch just to knock down my laptop. And I'm here with Don Mega.
What up, what up, wrestling fans?
What's up, wrestling fans? I got some crazy news, some sad news, of course, we'll get towards later on in the show. For Saturday was the big AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. 1 year we've had AEW on our television screens. And Don, I know you saw it and loved it.
Yes. 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 No. 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 I'm just here to represent WWE.
Yeah, according to your background,
That's
I know.
it. That's
you
it.
missed the fun.
I'm still live from the Performance Center.
Hey, which one? We'll talk about that pretty soon. But I'm finally glad they have a little bit of a crowd here. They finally took what AEW has been doing for 3 months.
That was their idea. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay. What? The plexiglass was their idea.
Exactly. See, AEW isn't keeping their fans safe. WWE is 6 feet social distancing, plexiglass.
So the Rock's daughter got a nice close up.
I didn't even see her in the crowd.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning. She got a nice big old close up on her. All right, so Double or Nothing happened a couple days ago on May 23rd for your kickoff, but they called the buy-in. The Best Friends, Trent and Chuck, defeated Private Party, Isaiah and Mark Quinn in 15:02. I know you love your times, Don. I got your times for you. Don't worry.
The Not Street Profits, is that who they beat?
Oh, whatever.
Private Party. I'll bring the swag like nobody can. I'll bring the swag like
wrong group.
Oh, sorry.
They do have a similar drink thing too. I think I've seen them do too. Like they also talk about drinks. What was that, seltzer water? What brand is that?
It's a Safeway brand.
Safeway.
Signature Select.
Hey, Safeway, if you want to send some cases to me or Don, just feel free.
Yeah.
Good old advertising.
Only Safeway has this delicious seltzer water.
I do like seltzer myself. Fun buy-in match here. A couple of little flubs here. Some have say, Private Party haven't wrestled since the quarantine, so that could have been part of it. My only other thing too is sometimes with these face-on-face matches, just hard to get to that next gear. Of really caring because you're not really against any team here. We open up with a big ladder match here, big poker chip in the sky following the Vegas theme. Winner gets a world title shot. This was involving Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, Kip Sabian, Orange Cassidy, Colt Cabana, Joe Janela, Luchasaurus, Darby Allin, and the final mystery opponent. Who was it? No one is ready for Cage. It was Brian Cage as your mystery opponent. And the final man in the match, he would win it at 28-28. Looks like Taz is his manager here. Some callbacks to how Darby Allin refused his services. Looks like Cage is with him now. Some have referred to their pairing as Brock and Paul Heyman light. Taz and Cage. So cool to see Cage here. I was going to mention my notes later. Supposedly he's been under contract since January. Just waiting for him to heal up. So they've had Cage in the wings now. And interesting, too, how like a year ago they had no big guys, and now here we are a year later, and they have Cage and Wardlow and Lance Archer and there's several big guys now. Brody Lee, which is, of course, debuted as well. Next up, really good match. MJF defeated Jungle Boy 17-25. Two young up-and-comers, both fantastic workers. How are you shaking your head now? You're so horrible. How are you not liking this?
I watch AEW every single week. I just want to let you know. I do.
Hold on.
Jungle Boy is so
whatever. Dude.
MJF got some potential, but
they both
Jungle
have
Boy
a lot of potential.
wrong.
Now, when you say you watch it, do you watch it like you watch Ring of Honor and TNA, or you just go, oh look, there's Jericho.
I don't necessarily watch it on speed 4 when I fast forward, maybe 2 or 3. So I am picking up more of it than I do with Ring of Honor or Impact. But
I knew I should have.
If I see something I like, I'll hit play and I'll watch it.
Yeah, if you see a former WWE guy, you're like, oh, I know who Jericho is.
Exactly. Jericho with his Fozzy song, and Damascus, and you know, I've always been a fan of Lance Archer, so I'm happy to see his success so far, along with Jake the Snake. See, I'm very familiar with the product. And the crappy red TNT championship that looks like the Raw tag titles. But
okay, let's talk about that now. Let's go into that. That is the next match on the card. Cody, don't call him Rhodes, defeated Lance Archer in 2110 for the new TNT title that Mike Tyson brought out. And yeah, it's the first thing I said to my friend that I watched it with. I was like, I think my local Florida company, have better looking titles than that. This looked like it was like an indie guy that only had $50 to spend. But it was said on commentary that this is not the final design. It couldn't get it done because of COVID. Oh, they got the money. It's going to look better.
Okay, I've seen the final design. All it is they painted it gold instead of silver. So it is exactly the same belt. So don't sit there and try to make excuses for it, because it's the same fucking title. It's just not supposed to be silver. It's actually gold. It still looks like shit. It's a horrible looking belt. And calling it the TNT championship is fucking dumb. It's dumb.
Why? What else are you calling it?
They're just like, ooh, let's not have a TV title. We'll call it the TNT championship.
We're trying to be different. Nitpicking. You're nitpicking. It's the same thing. It's a mid card title. So you can't call it the IC. That's kind of trademarked. And so, and a TV's been done.
Call it the IC title. Cares? They could have called it a TV title.
Okay, but then you would have had plenty of fans going, oh, but we've seen that in TNA and in NWA, so
that's fine. I mean, I don't need anything new and fresh.
TNT, I don't mind it. It's just a name to me. It marks the channel. The channel evidently is proud of them, so I'm totally fine with that. I think you're nitpicking, and at the end of the day, too,
not nitpicking. I hate it.
Well, no, if that's your honest opinion, that's your honest opinion. I'm just saying, I don't mind it at all. It's a name.
First time they announced it on the show, I was like, that's fucking stupid. So yeah, just not a fan.
It never crossed me in any way. This was a really good match, by the way.
Lance Archer should have won.
I'll agree with you on that. I mean, I'm definitely of the philosophy of Cody can chase it. Cody can win it later, be completely fine. He's been a star since day one in this company. Archer had such a great build, and then I just felt like that sinking in the title. He's the kind of guy that I think needs the title more than Cody would have needed it. So, So I agree with that. I don't hate Cody having the title. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe MJF's the one that takes it off of him. They still have kind of a thing, kind of unfinished, and I think he's probably got to be in line for something soon here. Over the women's division, Chris Statlander defeated Penelope Ford in 8 minutes and 10 seconds. This was the second replacement back to the ladder match. Janela had to replace Ray Phoenix, who was hurt. Hopefully he'll be I believe he'll be back very soon, though. This Ford was a replacement for Dr. Britt Baker, but we'll have an update on a little bit later. That one, not as good as news as Phoenix here. Chris won in 8-10. Kind of predictable just based on the fact that Ford wasn't even going to be in the match. So Chris Statlander walking away with the win here. Probably my least favorite match of the night. Dustin Rhodes defeated Shawn Spears in 4-12. Good intro from Shawn Spears, kind of playing kind of doing the whole like, oh, the music cues for his opponent. He goes, you thought he was going to come out, didn't you? Yeah, you always think that. And then Dustin doesn't inevitably come out, and it was a very quick humor match. Spears basically just got his ass kicked. You see him in his boxer briefs with Tully Blanchard on the crotch at one point. And yeah, I was just surprised that this wasn't a competitive match. This was very much a throwaway comedy match. And kind of with the Cody match, I very much felt like Spears needed the win here. Had a nice debut, had a good feud with Cody, and then since then he's kind of been put to the side. And at the very least, a competitive match I thought would have been, maybe they wanted something quick here is kind of my best guess. Women's title, we have a new champion as Hikaru Shida defeated Nyla Rose 16-35 to crown a new champion here. There's also a really good match. I'm a big fan of Shida. My buddy Dutch, who watched it with me, who's been on the show before, he's a huge Shida fan here. So surprised that Nyla's reign is over with already here. Probably won't be the last one maybe see of her as champion, but Shida is your new champion. And as for their belts too, I like all their other belts. What do you think of their other belts?
I hate their women's championship with a passion. The heavyweight title's cool looking. The tag titles they're all right. Yeah. Is that it? Am I missing another belt?
No.
Is there a Luchasaurus championship? They have a lot of dinosaur people over there. I was wondering if they maybe had some prehistoric championship as well too.
Who's a dinosaur besides Luchasaurus? What are you talking about?
Oh, that whole group, that whole clique.
That,
They're all jungly.
Oh, Marco's son's not. He's a small child, is what his gimmick is. Yeah, Jungle Boy. Okay, what's up?
I just can't. That women's championship is so bad. It is the tiniest looking fucking toy belt that I've ever seen in my life. When you wear it and the front plate is that big, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And I think it looks really bad on their wrestlers. So.
I'm going to go ahead and defend it again. It's another belt. I'm not that I defended the last belt. I defended that it will be looked a little different. I don't mind it. Again, I go with the fact that it's something different, and it's old school is how it looks to me, too. It looks like an old NWA title, so I don't mind it. I personally don't mind it. Good review. John Moxley successfully defended that world title against Brody Lee in 15:28 here. Are you excited to see Brody Lee on TV? No, you're not a Luke Harper fan?
Never been.
Oh, okay.
Never will be.
A lot of controversy. See that's I hate when you say that. What do you never will be? You're just gonna not give him any hope? He can't win you over?
Probably not. No. He had fucking like 6 years to win me over in WWE and couldn't get it done. So I don't have much faith in him.
In the first ever Stadium Stampede match, Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Page defeated the team of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Ortiz and Santana here in the first ever Stadium Stampede, 33 minutes, 55 seconds. This was fun. It was something different. Got a little silly at points, yes. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, very similar to maybe Money in the Bank, if you will. But I had fun with it. It went on last, which kind of makes sense with all the craziness that went on here. So what doesn't bring you to these pay-per-views? Is it the price point? Do you just not care that much about the company? What stops you?
I barely want to watch the TV show, let alone a pay-per-view. So, I mean, yeah, I have zero interest whatsoever. I would never spend a dime to watch this. This company just doesn't do it for me at all. I mean, they got a couple people I'm interested in, but not enough to drop $50-$60 on. They're crazy. They can then do that in this economy. So, not going to do it.
That is a tough price point. I think they got to figure out something. I was surprised that even with this not being, a no crowd show, that they might go down on this when they didn't. Maybe just stuff was said. I don't know. But yeah, there's something they're gonna have to, I think about in the future, because they're the only ones asking for that anymore. Like WWE's $9.99, Evolve, all the indies are $9.99 plus you get hours of extras. So it's just tough doing it from one show, man. We are coming off, of course, Raw from last night, 2 nights ago. By the time we see this, new U.S. champion Apollo Crews winning his first ever WWE title. I actually, if I was a betting man, I would have voted on Andrade. I didn't know if they were going to actually pull the trigger with Apollo. It seemed like they pulled the rug from him before for the ladder match. So I was always like, maybe they're just not totally convinced still. But what do you think about Apollo finally getting his title?
It's about damn time. I mean, plain and simple. This is a guy that has just been juggled around, real good, decent run on NXT, and then moved to the main roster pretty quickly. And I mean, God, for the last couple of years, he's one of those only guys that seem to be like, oh, he's on Raw. Now he's on SmackDown. Oh, he's been traded to Raw. Oh, he's been traded to SmackDown. Oh, he's traded back to Raw. I'm like, come the fuck on. What are we doing with Apollo? It's like they just can't figure it out. And it looked like he was going to begin to push. Then they took him out of Money in the Bank, and I was like, well, there goes that. And, and now he's the U.S. champ, so it's good. I mean, I guess good things come to those who wait. Paulo's one of those guys that caught my eye before he was even signed to WWE. And I think he's super gifted and athletic. And I think there's a lot of potential for him with a mid-card belt like that. So I'm happy, man. I'm stoked. They're going to give him a nice run. And I'm hoping, I've been hearing a lot of rumors about a redesigned U.S. title. So speaking of titles, I would love to see something new. The U.S. title, I think, is the last title available that has not been redesigned in the last decade. So it'll be nice to see something fresh, something new, and I think switching it to Apollo is a good time to kind of debut that and give him a little bit of a push. So I'm down, man. It was nice.
Yeah, man, definitely. Congrats to Apollo here. I've been a fan of his since beforehand. His work in Evolve, his Uha Nation, and other things. So, I always thought this guy would look like he was a WWE superstar. You know what I mean? He can move, he can work. So I'm glad to see him finally getting a shot. Like I said, I wasn't sure if it was going to come. He was losing handicap matches to Sheamus at the start of the year over at SmackDown. So, good way to come in 5 months or several years, really. So we got Angel Garza, a little bit of an upset over Kevin Owens. Murphy and Fury defeated Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. Nia Jax defeated Charlotte and Natalia. And then in the main event, Lashley and MVP defeated the Street Profits. Let me get your opinion on this. So not only did we get another segment this week of golf, looks like what are we getting next week? Is it bowling that we're getting?
Bowling.
And
Yep.
also too, just in general, should we be having the Street Profits losing in a tag match? I know it's the number one contender, so it's not the worst, but yeah, I don't like our champions losing. And then also too, are you tired of these? We've had 3 of these. Like, do we need a 4th?
No. They obviously think it's hilarious and they want to keep doing them. So it's dumb. I was almost thinking that we were going to see Street Profits turn heel and kind of join up with Lashley and MVP and kind of become like some new super group. When they kind of confronted them backstage and were like, you guys are a joke and, you guys should be doing something more. I figured, this would be a nice turn. I would have been down with it, but they didn't go that way. No, it's stupid. I mean, just have the damn match already for the tag belts. I don't know what we're stretching for. It's just
I guess we're stretching on Backlash.
I don't like the whole, why does everything have to be a theme? Everything has to have some kind of marketing behind it because, this whole thing is now called the anything you can do, I can do better, section of the show. And it's just like, really, come on. Just as much as they're now shoving it down our throat that Edge and Randy Orton are going to have the greatest wrestling match
it's
ever.
On every match graphic, even of the other matches. It's still in the corner there. What the
greatest
hell?
Wrestling match ever. The match hasn't happened yet, but it's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. How sucky for those guys to have to go into a match that's being built up with the anticipation of the greatest wrestling match ever. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I love Edge. He's in my top 5 of all time. I love Randy Orton. Who the fuck backstage came up with these two are going to put on the greatest wrestling match ever together? I mean, come on. You're telling me it's going to be better than, Undertaker and Shawn, stuff like that. It's like, come on. I don't like the gimmick of it. And then playing this is the greatest show as the theme song behind it is hilarious. Once again, why does everything got to be a theme? Why does everybody got to have a nickname?
They love that.
Yeah.
What is it? There's been mash cuts online of you'll see a Hell in a Cell or something, and they'll use one word and they'll jam it in commentary every 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't know why they always love doing that. I don't know why.
Yeah. No. Anything you can do, I can do better. The greatest wrestling match ever. God, when they first started doing Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series, it was all the one time a year that the Raw and SmackDown go head to head in direct competition. They had to say that exact phrase every single time they mentioned Survivor Series. They're grasping on to some kind of. It's I don't know if it's even set up on purpose, but it's Corey Graves will say something and they're like, "Ooh, I really like that. Let's run with that as the tagline for this going forward." But it drives me nuts. It drives me just as much as nuts as it does the nicknames that everybody's got to have a nickname. The Almighty Bobby Lashley and the Monday Night Messiah. Just everybody's got to have a goddamn nickname. And it's no, they don't. Why? And it's and why does it have to be announced when they come down to the ring? That's not their name. It's one thing during commentary if you want to say the Beast, or you want to say the Monster Among Men, it's one thing. But when they're coming down to the ring, it's not weighing 300 pounds, the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. It's why? Why is there a need to have to do the so over the top thing?
It's the same thing as Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not in the announcement, but when there's commentary and
but Stone Cold was a part of his name. That was literally in his title. These other things are just made up monikers that they say during commentary and then feel the need to once again shove it down our throats every 2 seconds when they talk about these people. It's always it's just an additional thing that doesn't make any sense. It's not in their moniker, it's not, you got Isaiah Swerve Scott, like that's, that's his name. Like it's not like, they're that they're just, he's swerving it up like the whole time, like on commentary, but it's just like
they're looking for those hashtags, man.
I don't know what the hell they're looking for, but it's just become so damn over the top these last couple of years with just trying to throw some kind of moniker hoping to stick on somebody when it's not, even with, like Jinder Mahal, since he's come back, they're like the former WWE champion Jinder Mahal. Like, why are we announcing that? Like, that's not like, no one else comes out and they say former fucking champion, but he gets that, like just to kind of shove it in your face. Like, the monikers. I mean, it kind of, we're segueing around, but
let's not forget The Rock versus John Cena, once in a lifetime, man.
Once in a lifetime, and then, one final time, and this is really the last time, and it's too much, man. And it's gonna kill me getting the backlash with the whole like the greatest wrestling match ever. Some people are already billing it the greatest wrestling match ever. Who are these people? Nobody said that. Nobody has said that. This match has not happened. So how can you put a moniker on it already before the match even happens? I don't know. And I don't like, I'm sorry, like, once again, I love Edge to death. I don't like these backstage interviews that he does. They're so all over the place, and I don't understand the whole, like, him doubting himself again. This is what we talked about a couple of weeks ago when Randy like challenged him, and he's like on one hand being like, oh, I can't wait to get out there and wrestle all these new hot talents. And then Randy Orton's like, how about a wrestling match? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm so scared.
That's gonna be,
you have me doubting myself. I was retired for 9 years. What the fuck, dude? You just said you were going to wrestle all these new people backstage. Why are you scared? And again, on the interview on Monday, he's talking about how his confidence is shaken and he doesn't know if he can do it anymore and all this stuff. I'm like, shut up. Just go out there and do it, man. I think Edge right now is in his own head and he thinks like this is the new 2020 Edge and he analyzes things a little bit differently than the 2000 Edge does. I'm like, dude, just give me back the Rated R Superstar and let's kick some ass, man. Like, what are you doubting over there? Ugh.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that Edge promo because, I mean, from an acting standpoint, it was wonderfully sold. Like, I love his delivery, but yeah, it goes right back to what we said a couple of weeks ago, just about, like, I just looked it up again. You just wrestled 36 minutes, dude. You in like a hardcore setting too, where like you're like trying to murder each other with plates and dropping from like a ceiling with an elbow. I think you can do a headlock takedown and a wrist lock. I think you're gonna be okay. So yeah, it's kind of an ass backwards feud, man. Like this should have been the other way where they had a normal match and then Randy Orton was like, "What about a last man standing falls count anywhere match?" And I'm just like, "Whoa." I did a normal match. Can I do a big fight?
Right, yeah, definitely. So, a little ass backwards.
It's an odd one, and definitely, I think we both agree that like I like the WrestleMania match a lot to a big degree, but we got Orton. Give me someone else. Here's my prediction now. The fact that they're billing this as the greatest wrestling match and they're running with it so hard. I think Randy Orton's just going to kick him in the dick and, like, the match is going to end in a minute and then just lead to a third match. Like, I can't imagine they're legitimately going to try to live up to that hype. That hype is unlivable. Like, I don't care how good the match is. It's not going to be the greatest wrestling match. You don't say that beforehand.
That's what I'm saying. That's what sucks for them is imagine, going into something, even if you're an actor and they're like, this is going to be the greatest movie ever, and it's like, really? Like, to who? Like, do you really think that we're going to be able to pull that off? And that's totally where this match is at as well.
Yeah, so I guess half the time whenever you hear from like early Oscar talk, and then there's never any Oscar hype later on. We also finally had. We were talking a little bit earlier before. I loved it. I don't know about love, but I definitely think it's an improvement. Do you like the NXT guys in the crowd?
Yes. It finally, like, as much as I've gotten used over the last couple of months of no crowd, just hearing cheers and seeing people clapping, even though, it just, it was kind of force-fed, obviously being like, oh, it's NXT people, but not any of the NXT people you see on a weekly basis. It's just, like the low cards. But just having them in the crowd and just hearing it to backstage interviews, hearing it when they come out for their, entrance, hearing it during the matches, the cheers and the boos. I mean, it actually sounded really good, and it gave me a fun vibe. I felt like the matches had more intensity on Monday night than they've had the last couple months because there were people watching. Like you could hear the oohs and the ahs, and like when Natalya and Charlotte put Nia through the table, hearing everybody be like, whoa, like like there was just something to it that has been lacking, and I totally dug it, man. So kudos for trying something else, and as we all know, they probably did get the idea from AEW, who have been doing it for several weeks. I think it's smart. It's the same thing we talked about before about them changing the camera angle to be this head-on shot with the stage compared to when things first started and the camera was over here,
obvious, with chairs.
And it's just like it just makes more sense. And it's just little tweaks like that that are making these shows feel solid. So I totally loved having the crowd.
Yeah, I was happy to see it right from the get-go here. Like, even just something as simple as, like, a face in a submission hold trying to get his comeback and people doing the slow clap. It makes so much more. You lose that thought a lot more when there's just a little bit of something going on. And, like, hey, you have, the way audio works, you have, 50 people cheering. It's going to sound decent. So, yeah, definitely it's an improvement. I was afraid they were going to never do it just based on stubbornness in a way. Like, I was like, well, AEW's did it. They're not going to want to just look like they're
I don't think anybody pitched it to Vince that AEW was doing it. I think they were like, don't tell him.
Yeah,
just
probably.
Be like, I got a real good idea. Let's use the NXT guys that aren't on television and we'll fill it with our own crowd. That's a great idea. Let's do it. And
all the people that live in that area anyway, no one's really traveling far. They're all probably living literally down the street or, 20 minutes away, whatever. But yeah, definitely vast improvement there. Any other notes from Raw or recent WWE TV? I mean, I got news coming, but
I love Drew's new shirt. I like the less talk, more Clay more.
Yeah,
like that. It was good. Don't know what they're gonna do with Lana, as obviously she's being pushed out.
I have one for you. You watch Main Event, right? I don't know if this is where they are, but where has one? You talking about Supergroup before? Did MVP lose his other guys already? Are we done with Vink and Thorne? And also, what happened to Cedric and Ricochet?
Like Main Event. Main Event has taken them over. Yep. They've been doing singles matches actually. Ricochet fought Shane Thorne on last week's Main Event. And they're kind of flip-flopping, that to kind of give some time. But yes, MVP was not around for those matches.
No, really.
So I don't know if I think they bypassed that. From my understanding, they want to kind of redo. And this has been a long time since I've seen. Was it TNA maybe when MVP had the Beatdown Club? That's something that they're looking to do, that they want to redo in Raw right now.
Was Lashley a part of that too? Like, I think I saw.
I think he was. Yeah, so that's what they were saying.
TNA.
Starting to do something with him, and then they'll get more people into it. Still trying to wrap my head around. I don't know how I feel about Austin Theory being a new disciple for Seth.
I think
it's okay. I don't hate it. Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was an odd duck out in the whole Andrade group. Like, it didn't really make sense because they're all like Latino, and then there was like the little white dude like being like, "Yo, I'm part of this group too," and so he makes more sense over here. I feel like that's gonna push Murphy out, though. I feel like there's gonna be some kind of disconnect there.
I hope not. I think it makes sense as a group. You have two mid-carders.
I think it makes sense, but I feel like they've been showing little signs. Like when Seth first brought him in the group, Murphy was kind of like, I don't know, like kind of doing a little mad dog. So I feel like they were laying seeds a little bit of being like, he's not the special one anymore, that now it's that quick, you could just grab another disciple kind of thing. And where the fuck is AOP once again? I mean, they're just no match.
One of them's hurt.
Is one of them hurt?
Yeah,
how?
Yeah.
They haven't even wrestled. All they've done is walked out and like been around Seth.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a house show or what, but one of them's for sure hurt. Like, that's why.
What house show? They're not doing house shows right now.
No, this was before, man. This was before.
They've been on since the no crowd shows. So I don't know.
Akam got hurt on March 12th.
Yeah, March 12th. What do you do? Roll his ankle? Like, come on, dude. Ridiculous. I just I don't like that they just don't mention them. You know, like
Akam caught Rollins off a cross body. Oh no, they did wrestle because I think it was like against Joe and Kevin Owens and stuff like that. They wrestled.
Yeah.
Rolled his ankle. And because if Akam's out, they means they ain't got shit for Razor.
Jesus.
He can still be a bodyguard, like even if they don't have much singles matches for him, like he could still be there. But
give me 1 sec. I'm gonna pop right back.
Well, I'll just talk about AEW while you're gone. Because you ain't got nothing to add to this segment anyway. After the pay-per-view, always AEW does kind of a scrimmage where they do Tony Khan and others talk about, they get asked questions. Some news and notes from that. Looks like Tony Khan post-show notes include the all-out pay-per-view set for September 5th. There is a location, obviously, so maybe they're hoping they can still go to a normal place. If not, probably get it, where we saw it today or Saturday, Jacksonville at Daly's. John Moxley versus Brian Cage is set for Fyter Fest. That was, I believe, June or July of last year, maybe July. So we'll see what's up with where that'll be as well. That probably at this point be at Daly's in Jacksonville. Britt Baker, I mentioned before, she was injured at the last Dynamite. This looks like at the moment she's being billed for a 6 weeks out. It's about a month and a half here, if not more. So, quick recovery to Britt Baker. MJF and Jungle Boy was announced that they are signed for at least another 4 years. He said, everyone's very happy with their match, and they're here for the long haul, at least another 4 years for MJF and Jungle Boy. MJF's going
Jungle Boy, 4 more years, yeah.
Nowhere for MJF either. And as I said before, Cage has been signed since January, and they've actually been paying him since January while he healed an injury from Impact Wrestling, I believe. So here's something I hope you've been watching, although knowing you, I don't know. Have you been watching Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes.
Fantastic. So season 2 just ended here. Really good season, really fascinating stuff here, sad stuff here. The season premiere was about Chris Benoit, the tragedy there. And the finale was with Owen Hart. And great episodes in between as well. The Brawl for All, a little bit of a lighter episode, maybe not for Bart Gunn, but for, in general, a way lighter episode. Was it Dino Bravo, Jimmy Snuka? If you don't know that story, check that out. The rise and fall of UWF, including cocaine and hookers, Don's favorite. So a really good season of Dark Side of the Ring. And I believe as of today, or yesterday, it was announced we are getting season 3. It has been greenlit, so that's great to hear. I figured
just watched the Road Warriors one also.
Yeah, Hawk and Animal a couple of weeks ago, I believe the second to last, maybe if not. Yeah, that one's that one's tough to see too because it looked like kind of very similar to Eddie Guerrero. That Hawk was turning himself around towards the end there too, and just unfortunately the damage had been done.
What a rush!
What a rush they had indeed. Yeah, I love this show, dude. What do you think about the show?
I think the show's fantastic. I mean, they're very well done documentaries. I don't watch every episode. I mean, I watch the ones that are usually WWE based, but I love it, man. I mean, the Owen one was crazy last week to just kind of relive that. I mean, I watched the Over the Edge pay-per-view live, so that one triggers for me because I
heard it live. Mom and Dad wouldn't buy it, so I heard it live through the squiggles of the pay-per-view.
Yeah. I saw that one live, and I remember seeing Jim Ross be like, Owen Hart is just falling from the ceiling, and just being like, what? And just, and then the show going on and just continuing crazy just to see the police photos and to see like the blood on the mat.
And, blood on the mat. And the angle I've ever seen that photo.
The angle of the scaffold looking straight down of where he fell and just everything. I mean, just crazy. The rough part for me in that was at the end of like his widow just kind of being like, just reiterating again why she never lets WWE have any kind of rights to him and all this kind of stuff because she doesn't want them ever, profiting or doing anything off of his name. And then even his son now is kind of sharing that sentiment and being like, yeah, we will never let them use Owen's name. And it's unfortunate and it's very sad as a wrestling fan that we, I know a lot of us want to see Owen represented. We want to see his name in the Hall of Fame. We want to see him in the video games. We want to see him, get that opportunity that he'd never had before. And I think it's very cold for them, for the family to be like, nope, like we're never going to allow it. Like that's one of those ones that doesn't sit well with me. If they, they talk about doing it for him, but I'm like, we all know how much Owen loved the business, and it's like, why would you hold that from him? Just because, I mean, I get it. He died in the WWE, and that's why they're, holding that kind of a grudge against it, because they're like, oh, if he never wrestled in WWE, he'd be alive. But it's like, come on, man, how many people have died in WWE before? And Brett has forgiven, and Brett, like the Hart family, like, is basically, you saw in that documentary where like, like, stop, with the lawsuits and the this and the that. It was an accident. It was an accident. And I just, you would think after all these years, they would finally just allow him to take his rightful place. And it just, that bummed me out to hear that in the thing of basically saying like, nope, until the day we die, like we will never allow WWE. And I don't know, my fingers are crossed. Maybe one day Hunter will make that call and he'll smooth it over somehow the way he does, and really just be like, look, like maybe, any profit or whatever goes to their charities or goes to this or that. But I mean, an amazing documentary. I mean, kicked off super strong with the Chris Benoit thing, and then which just blew my mind. The Chris Benoit one by far is the best episode.
Yeah, 2-hour premiere too. Yeah,
two-parter, just so deep it goes into it, man, and it definitely hit hard. And then wrapping up with Owen, I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, definitely stuff. The two toughest is that premiere and that finale. Like I even legit took 2 breaks during the finale. Like I have a commercial instead of skipping forward. I did something else for a few minutes to like try to calm down. Speaking on what you said though, man, I definitely see what you're saying. As a fan, it would be nice to honor him and obviously play with him in the video game and whatnot. But I don't know, man. We're looking at it from an outside perspective. I mean, I think some of that is true, but I get where she's coming from. She feels that the company didn't take enough care of him. There wasn't enough care going into that stunt, and that's why he passed. So I understand how they feel, man. I mean, literally, the father is gone from their lives. So like, it's easy for us to say, let it go in a way. Like, so I don't know. I get where they're coming from to a degree. It bummed me out, but not to the degree of not understanding. I get it.
I mean, I get it to an extent, but I feel like that was, what, 23, 24 years ago. I mean, I got it for the first decade. At this point, it's like, okay, now you need to kind of do what's right. I mean, if you passed in the ring and I knew how much you love the business, like I would not be like, screw WWE and never represent Jordan the right way.
You would ask how much you would be making off the royalties.
I wouldn't care about that. Like, but to me though, it would be like, look, it's not about me. Like you were the wrestling guy. You were the one that gave your life and your family and everything to the business. Like, I would want you represented. I would want your name on a Hall of Fame flyer, on the Hall of Fame magazine, on the website. Like, I would want you represented and remembered for being the great superstar that you were, not just, holding that grudge for, 25 years, just being like, well, he died in the company, so I want nothing to do with it. And it's like, well, I do weigh it out, and I do see, yes, I understand I'm not in the shoes, but I feel like if I was, I wouldn't be doing what they're doing for sure. Which is what's happened with all these other, superstars that have gone into the Hall of Fame after they've died. Obviously family has to sign off on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's a good show. I don't know where they're gonna go. Any ideas for season 3? And I'm not sure. I'm sure there's plenty though. I mean, Brian Pillman, there's plenty.
I'm sure that there's plenty of stuff to pick up from. I mean,
Mr. Perfect, who knows?
I don't. There's nothing really that pops in my head as something that for sure. I feel like all the main things, like the Montreal Screwjob and like all these other things, have already been covered. That I would expect. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, nothing really pops out like tremendously.
Yeah, so
looking forward to it.
I know they were pulling fans on Twitter and whatnot, so I'm sure they'll come up with something good. Hopefully, the goal is to get it out by 2021. So fingers crossed they can start rolling normal schedule and they're not pushed off due to COVID and whatnot. Of course. So
they shouldn't.
Well, they can at least do a lot of good pre-production, so they could probably stay on track for the most part. The Revival, now called the Revolt, at least we'll see, were issued a cease and desist order over their clownish T-shirt design over at ProWrestlingTees.com. This is a T-shirt that supposedly depicted images of what their WWE characters were supposed to be, and they were told cease and desist. Kurt Angle is already returning to the WWE after being one of the many people released on Black Wednesday. He will referee tonight's cage match between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. I look forward to this match. And we actually have some more news about Matt Riddle. The scuttlebutt is that he is primed for a SmackDown debut. That's the recent scuttlebutt. So, what do you think about this match, Angle's return, and are you a Riddle fan, and are you ready for him to debut on your background?
Looking forward to the match. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be cool to see Angle do something in NXT. First, I'm hearing about a main roster debut. SmackDown probably would be a good place for him to pop into. I don't expect it to probably happen though until after SummerSlam maybe. But yeah, I mean it should be good.
Well, hey, there's supposedly a battle royal on Friday, so maybe Matt Riddle could bro his way into the battle royal. But yeah, I don't know. That's the reason rumors, you always hear stuff like that sometimes, though they don't always come to fruition. So we will see. A match that has been set for Backlash. I only want to talk about this because I just think this sucks. Miz and Morrison are battling Braun in a handicap match. I'm not a fan just because, one, we've seen this gimmick already. We literally saw it for the IC title when Sami Zayn defeated Braun for the IC title. And I like Miz and Morrison, especially, again, we've only had Morrison now less than a year, and there's no way they're going to win. So just, do you really have to kill this team? I don't know. This match does nothing for me.
I won't say it does nothing for me. It sounds on paper it's dumb. It doesn't really make much sense that this would be the way that they would go. It's obviously filler because I think we're just trying to get to SummerSlam so he could fight the Fiend.
Yeah.
We're gonna go right back to Bray. So it's just something kind of in the mid ground to just get us by. And it's something different, you know. I mean, because once again, it's gonna make Braun look real good because he's fighting two guys. You know, and he's just such the monster among men. And then, you know, unfortunately for us, Miz and Morrison are going to get their ass kicked. And it sucks because I'm a massive Morrison fan, and I really wish like he was truly in the Universal title picture, going for a championship belt rather than just being stuck in this tag team kind of rut. That now that they've lost the titles, feels like they don't know really what to do with them. So here we are. But you know, I think it'll be entertaining enough. Hopefully, I like all these guys, so we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to do exactly what you said. That's my prediction. Braun's going to steam pile them in 4 to 6 minutes, and this is very much filler. This is exactly like you said. This is just to kill time, kill the June pay-per-view, so they can get to the August one with the Fiend. Well, they've been down since day one-ish. Usos and Tamina have now celebrated a decade in the WWE since their Raw debut together as a trio here. Tamina most recently having maybe her most successful singles run, actually getting pay-per-view shot against Bayley. The Usos have really grown too. I remember when they first started, they were a little rough around the edges, and now they're just fantastic matches usually whenever they're out there. So one of them currently injured, so we're going to have a few months without him now. But are you an Uso fan?
Yes. Love the Usos. My daughter loves the Usos. What's unfortunate is Jimmy is out for like 9 months. So, I mean, it's almost going to be a year. So we're – huh?
I forgot which one. I forgot. I was like, oh, Jimmy, that's right.
Yeah, Jimmy, the one that WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that got hurt, and it's a bad injury. And I mean, and they're saying at least 9 months. So, what do you do at that point? What was poor for the other Uso?
I just say AOP.
What's Jay gonna do? Yeah, let's just do Jay and Rezar. They could be a new tag team. Yeah. So I mean, wish him best of luck. I mean, it's crazy. It's been 10 years, and Tamina's still fighting to get some screen time and win a championship. At least the Usos are like 6 or 7 time tag champs. So they've made their mark in the business. So Yeah, congrats.
Decade for them, but you know who's not joining the WWE anytime soon, as some recent contracts have been signed. Alexander Hammerstone has signed another multi-year deal.
Alexander Hamilton? Who?
No. That's a different podcast. That's debuting on Disney Plus soon.
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hammerstone has signed a multi-year deal with MLW. I don't think I should even ask. Do you watch MLW?
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. MLW. Is this fucking baseball? What the fuck is going on over here? Is he a baseball player? Fucking Alexander Hamilton swinging for the bases. Why are we talking baseball news? I thought this was a wrestling show.
It does stand for Major League Wrestling, though. So you're not. I mean, you're pretty far off, but anyway. So I really like him. He's definitely stood out, and I was curious to see if he would go anywhere, but MLW's got him for a little while longer. Here's a guy you probably have fast forwarded through in Ring of Honor. Flip Gordon has signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor. Are you familiar with Flip Gordon at all?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's fantastic, so good for you.
Sounds like it.
Here's a man that we will be saying goodbye to. Rey Mysterio retirement ceremony is set for Monday Night Raw. He's had a good career. Oh, why are you shaking your head?
Because it's fake as fuck. It's not happening. I'm not fucking retiring. He's going to wear a fucking salmon-colored fucking jacket. So, I got plenty left in the tank.
Here's my gripe with this is just that I feel like WWE's been hammering this idea for like a year now of like, oh, should I hang it up? Oh, my son wants me to keep wrestling. Okay. Oh, I don't know if I have it. Oh, I'm going back in. Like, I just feel like we've been hammering the same damn idea now for too long. Like, and this obviously, like you said, this obviously just, it's going to be a gimmick by Seth, and it'll probably pop into the last second or whatever. So I don't know. What do you think about this?
It's stupid. It's just dumb. It's a fucking segment. They're gonna obviously this is leading to Seth and Ray in a match. That's all it is. Ray will come out with his little eye patch, and you know, I'm just glad that he's not in critical condition anymore from having his eye pushed into a steel step.
Wouldn't that just murder you, or at least kill that eye? Like, I don't know how you don't have him blind now for the rest of his life. Steel damn step.
Yeah, well, it's because it really pushed in over here and not his actual eye.
Cool. Unfortunately, Drew Gulak has been released. What's that? He's not? He is? Nope. Okay, I don't know. Maybe
he resigned. We'll see him on SmackDown Friday.
That is the scuttlebutt here. If we had recorded this a week ago, we'd be talking about how.
What do you keep? I need to know what this scuttlebutt is. I don't know why you keep saying that. What the fuck is a scuttlebutt?
The term scuttlebutt.
I've never heard anybody say the word scuttlebutt before, so then you've done it like 3 times just in this episode. So
I've done it twice.
Keeps talking about this scuttlebutt shit.
Scuttlebutt, rumor, gossip. See, I knew what I was talking about.
Dude, nobody watching this show knows what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm the first person to ever say scuttlebutt. I came up with it. It's in Google, so obviously I'm not the first one to make it up. Anyway, so the scuttlebutt is Drew Gulak. It was announced that he was released, although I believe WWE.com has never officially said it. And, you know, even though they've kind of on certain YouTube clips don't mention him anymore, he is still in the brackets, so obviously you can't really kill him from the brackets from losing Daniel Bryan a couple of weeks ago. But rumors are it's still very much in contract negotiations, and then we'll like see him Friday. So you're a firm believer we'll see him Friday or soon?
Yeah, I think it was just a misunderstanding. I mean, from the way I get it, his contract ran out, and they just hadn't re-signed him yet, and they renegotiated, and then he re-signed, and we're all good, and he'll be right back on SmackDown like we never skipped a beat. So, yeah, I mean that's I mean it happens. You know, they're a big ass company, and this is not the first or the last time that somebody's contract expiration was overlooked. So it'll be all right.
I hope so, man. I like him, and it was very surprising too, considering that since losing the Cruiserweight title, this is the best run he's had. He was another guy that when he got transferred to SmackDown, he was being fed to Braun and missing TV half the time, or not being used rather. And so just recently they've had the gimmick with Daniel Bryan, and it's led to a tag team. And next time we have heels as champions, I think they'd be a great full-on tag team if they decide to go that route. So yeah, hopefully he's sticking around. I think he's definitely got a lot more to give. Before we get to the
got a lot left in the tank.
rock a pink salmon jacket. Your Gulak. And if not, just watch his PowerPoint presentations. Before we get to the unfortunate news of the week, anything else you want to cover? Anything else on your mind? Any scuttlebutt you've heard? This episode will be called Scuttlebutt now.
I'm sure it will be. You just got to rub it in.
Yeah, question, man.
I want to have you. Are you caught up on the Undertaker: The Last Ride?
Nope. I've heard good things.
It is amazingly awesome. I just watched part 3 last night, which was fantastic because they spend half of it going over the Undertaker Shawn WrestleMania 25-26, and then leading into the story with Triple H for 27-28. And then obviously going full circle to their awesome Saudi Arabia match with them, the Brothers of Destruction against DX coming out of retirement. So the episode's very much just all the guys I love, and it's a very interesting episode to see it all come full circle, and I love it, man. This documentary series is phenomenal, and it's something that every week I just can't wait for Sunday to come to get that new episode that I can just jump right into. Have you watched any of it?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen the first part. I've been meaning for my buddy who watches the pay-per-views with me. He doesn't have the network, so I've actually been kind of saving it. So no, I saw the first one. No, yeah, it's great stuff. Obviously, here's a guy that you don't ever see really in these documentaries. Finally opened up to the cameras a few years ago, so it's cool getting with that mindset, and just again supremely well made. I mean, even if you're not into the wrestling aspect of WWE, these 24 and all documentaries are fantastic.
Documentaries are so damn good. So shout out to Undertaker: The Last Ride. Watch it on the network. It is definitely worth your time. Damn, that was leading me into another thought that now I have spaced. I wanted to talk real quick on thoughts on the IC title tournament and the fact now that AJ has officially been traded to SmackDown for future trade considerations to go to Raw to take his place, which we're still waiting for from when Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were traded to SmackDown for future trade replacements that have still never been named. So
that's because they just say that as an excuse without any plans on actually having the other side fulfilled. So we'll never see we'll see a defection at some point, but it won't be because of them. It'll just be because, again, them changing. I mean, like you said, Apollo before, how many times has he switched? He was at SmackDown at the beginning of the year, then all of a sudden he was Raw.
So what do you think about AJ going officially to SmackDown, and what's your thoughts on the IC tournament so far?
I mean, as far as AJ going, it's whatever. It's him on a show. AJ's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love AJ. So, he's doing the same shtick. So it's not like it's completely fresh, but I guess semi-fresh opponents now. So, I mean, the show thing doesn't mean too much to me. The IC tournament, who are we down to? We're down to 4, right?
Yeah.
AJ, Elias, Shinsuke. Who's Elias facing?
No, it's AJ and Elias, and then Jeff versus Daniel Bryan.
Say that again.
Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy, and Elias versus AJ.
Okay, that's a weird one. All right, well, the Daniel Bryan one. Yeah, so I don't know. What's your opinion? Who do you think is walking away with the belt here now that we're narrowed down the field to half?
I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I think D. Bryan. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I see in a weird way. I don't see Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go with AJ. I think give him a nice run here, and maybe have him and Daniel chase it. I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know if they're gonna finally give Elias. He's never had a belt except for the 24/7 title.
24/7 champion. Yeah.
I said it. Let's not forget.
Never forget. Hashtag.
And I thought it was, and they did announce on Monday. We forgot to talk about this. Rob Gronkowski is now, I believe, the longest reigning champion. Because he's had it now since Mania, early April. He hasn't done shit, but
yeah. He hasn't been seen on television since April, but he's now the longest reigning champ.
Why we got to strip Jordan Devlin and Daniel Bryan, or Sami Zayn rather, and not strip Rob Gronkowski?
Once again, for the record, Jordan Devlin has not been stripped of the title. He is still a champion. So, Sammy was a whole different thing because Sammy can defend it, but is refusing to defend it. So that is a different fucking subject. Whereas Jordan is stuck overseas in Ireland. So when he can get back over here, he will defend his title.
My bad. What else you got? You got something else?
No.
All right, here. Let's get, of course, to the the news everyone knows. The unfortunate news here that we've lost a couple of superstars in the world of wrestling here. Shad Gaspard at the age of 39. Of course, he was with WWE two different times under contract at WWE. Started with OVW in 2003, two-time tag team champion there. That's where he formed the tag team Crime Time with JTG. They were there. 2010. They even wrestled together on the indies occasionally, including they were even the tag team champions over in VIP wrestling. So to this day, wrestling even literally this year, defending those titles. Since then, he's done a lot of really cool stuff, man. Popping up in movies and TV. Think Like a Man 2, Get Hard, Key and Peele, From Dusk Till Dawn. He did stunts for Birds of Prey that was released just a few months ago. The co-creator of the graphic novel Assassin and Son. He did mocap for video games. I think he was Bane in a Batman video game. He was Kratos in God of War. In 2009, he married, and then in April of 2010, he had his son, Araya. In December of 2016, his first heroic gesture, he prevented an armed robbery over in Coral Springs, Florida. And then unfortunately, on May 17th, him and his son were amongst a group of swimmers caught in a strong rip current in Venice Beach, California, when the Shad instructed the lifeguards to save his son and disappeared underwater. On May 20th, his body was found washed ashore. In some lighter news, some good news coming out of this, silver linings. Collar and Elbow, Pro Wrestling Tees, and finally a GoFundMe have all been set up. If you want to monetarily donate to those, you can. Collar and Elbow Pro Wrestling Tees, they have T-shirts for him, and then of course the GoFundMe, which was asking for $100,000, has already, at least to last night, grossed over $140,000. So that's good to hear. Top donations were from Tony Khan of AEW, Chris Jericho, Shelton Benjamin, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, and even rumor has it John Cena also gave a huge chunk, the number one donation, not confirmed. JCG, I think, has said that he thinks it's him as well. Really, really sad news, man. There was hope for several days. Maybe a miracle would happen here. But then Wednesday we found out the sad news here. Shad, who was still a guy that a lot of people always said we could see him coming back to WWE, TNA, wherever. He still wrestled. He had such a hand in so many pots. Dave Bautista gave a really nice Twitter or Instagram video for him. So many people have reached out and showed love. Vince McMahon tweeted. Just really sad news. He went out in a really heroic way, looking out for his son first. And definitely love and respect to him. And sad he's no longer with us.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say that hasn't been said? I mean, when your last words are "save my son," and they did, and they saved his son, and then he unfortunately got pulled under a rip current. I know a couple days went by there, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's dead," and I was like, "Nah," like, and my wife was like, "Oh, you watch too many movies," because I'm like, he's floating on a tube somewhere in the middle of the ocean, and the Coast Guard's gonna find him, or he hit his head on some coral and he doesn't remember who he is and he's pondering around somewhere. I was trying to think, positive thoughts, man, that something was going to happen and he was going to be found. And when I woke up that morning and it said his body had washed ashore, I was like, oh man, just super, super sad. This is one where, again, you see the whole wrestling community come out and say what a great dude he was. And he always had a smile on his face and he was always positive. And and I loved Crime Time, man. That was always a group I expected to come back at some point, and I can't believe they've been gone as long as they've been gone. But like you said, I mean, I see Shad's one of those characters that I always saw pop up in movies, man. Anytime they needed a thug or they needed some big, bulky dude, like I was like, oh, there's Shad. Like you could always catch him, like I spotted him easily in Birds of Prey in the movie theater. I was like, there's Shad, like again, and just different films. And I just found out recently too about the whole like mocapping Kratos and stuff like that. Like it was crazy how much he did, and but I'm glad to hear about the GoFundMe. I'm glad it's beaten its record. I love the idea of John Cena doing that 40 grand under the CTC title. Just super cool.
Crime Time,
yeah, Crime Time, C Nation. You know, just yeah, horrible news. Very sad news. But yeah, thoughts and prayers are just out to his family.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it wasn't the last sad news we would hear in the world of professional wrestling here. So just pull up the notes here. Sorry. Hana Kimura, at the way too young age of 22, has also passed away here. She was a star over in Japan's Stardom organization. Lots of women have come there here that we know now on mainstream television. She's even appeared in Ring of Honor. She was on the Madison Square Garden show last year. They released that full match over on YouTube if you want to check it out. Recently was on the Netflix reality series Terrace House in Tokyo. And again, just such tragic news. It looks like it was an apparent suicide, partly due to cyberbullying, which is so tragic to hear. That again, just I don't know if I want to use the word. It's not senseless, but just senseless people online here, and just your words mean a lot here. And we come here and we criticize some wrestling, and I'll say a match sucks, or I don't get the angle here. But then there's just a whole other level of just hate that's out there, and your words matter, and even online, your words matter. And this is a lady who, again, a lot of love. Shayna Baszler, I think, simply tweeting this should not happen, amongst many other people here, and I don't know, just simple words of be kind, look out for one another here. Her mother found the body. It's just horrible stuff here going on. Two lives that definitely in different ways. We wish could have gone on way longer. So much to give both of them here, and just another sad note here. And just only silver lining I can think of is maybe one or two people will become nicer out of this. I don't know. Anything from you, Don?
Yeah, I mean, just sad. I didn't know who she was until the news broke. Not familiar with her at all, but definitely heard suicide, and I heard cyberbullying, and that just sucks. So, once again, words matter. It's unfortunate for somebody to feel that beat up, especially somebody who had popularity and people liked, and that she was affected that much to take her own life. Suicide's a funky one for me. I never really understand why somebody would want to take their own life like that. So that one's always a hard one for me to grasp and really understand. But it's sad nonetheless. And just stop the cyberbullying, man. The internet's a crazy place.
Absolutely, man. No, yeah, it's just there's no point to it. I've never seen how someone can get their jollies or their fun off of it. I don't know, just something about the internet too, and just obviously if you're going through anything, there's telephones out there, or not telephones, sorry, there's hotlines to call if anyone's ever experiencing anything like that, and reach out to loved ones, man. You'll be surprised sometimes, who will answer, and just sad notes to end here, obviously, here on a Kayfabe Chats here, but both definitely had to be talked about and praised, and their work lives on. If you're a Crime Time fan, I was too. I have a T-shirt here of Crime Time. It no longer fits, fun fact, but I still have it somewhere in case I ever get back into beach shape. And their work lives on online, and and everywhere too here. So, any parting words you got here for me, my brother?
I don't know. Somber way to end the show there. I wish you had a comeback after all this to something on a lighter note. But if not, take care, spike your hair. Woo woo woo, you know it.
Yes. Poor Zack Ryder's Greg the Valentine action figure was stolen from him. So we'll find out who did that. Have you been following The action figure chronicles of Zack
No.
Ryder. Supposedly he's bald now. By the way, have you heard that?
Huh?
Supposedly he cut his hair and is bald.
Oh, really?
I think that's I heard that something like that. Yeah. He's
So,
always wearing a hat,
he
basically.
had a toupee on. Then I guess it's always funny when somebody all of a sudden like is completely bald out of nowhere.
And sometimes it looks good. You should go bald.
I've been thinking about
Ooh, well, that's a fun note to end on.
it. One of
A
these days.
bald Don Mega coming to you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that was you, huh?
I said it's hot out there.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason I ever get a haircut is when I'm like, all right, it's too damn hot not to. Only reason. Otherwise, I'd probably become a hippie. Well, that was Kayfabe Chats, guys. It's an interesting world, as always, in here in professional wrestling here. We're only, a couple weeks away from Backlash. Seems like Backlash
Greatest wrestling match ever.
Greatest, man. That's why I'm telling you, he's going to kick him in the dick. It's going to be
greatest show.
He's going to kick him right in the balls, and it's going to be 30 seconds. And then Randy Orton's going to be like, I told you.
Nope. Don't see that happening. But
as a wise man once said, keep it kayfabe and woo woo woo. Take care.
Hey, I would like a plug. So before you stop this, as a professional host there, Jordan, I thought you would get all this down by now. But yes, we need to shout out our plug so people know where to find things. Because Jordan just puts stuff on the internet and just hopes people will roll into it one day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So I'm going to say, hey, make sure you follow me on Twitter at DX Don Mega. And hey, check out my entertainment podcast, Am I on the Air? You can also follow on Twitter at Am I on the Air. It's amiontheair.com, available on Apple Podcast, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and all those great platforms. So check it out, y'all. And check out my new episodes every Monday night. My new episode is fantastic, by the way. I think you should listen to it. It's called The Mega Cut. And I spent a lot of time talking and diving into the new Zack Snyder official cut of Justice League coming to HBO Max in 2021, which, by the way, HBO Max launches tomorrow. And I'm very, very excited. So check that out right now, streaming on all your favorite platforms.
What do you plan on watching on HBO Max?
Nothing specific right out the gate. I'm just happy to jump on the app and check out everything they have.
Absolutely, yeah. Subscribe over to Emma on the Air podcast over on Podbean. Did you say Podbean? Is that a thing?
I did not say Podbean.
No.
But yes, Podbean is a thing, but I am not on Podbean.
Oh, what?
So thanks for mentioning the one place I don't have it up at. Because you can listen on Instagram and YouTube, and but of course all your favorite platforms. Spotify is my favorite. I think that's Jordan's favorite as well.
I agree. Yeah.
So
Vimeo.
Vimeo, no. That's more work related. I have some work videos on Vimeo.
That's why I watch Botchamania, because you can full screen it. YouTube, they always crop it.
Yeah.
Vimeo, you can full screen it.
Good to know. I miss Botchamania. But yes, Am I on the Air? Check it out. You'll like it. If you're into TV and movies and news, it's your one-stop shop. Check it out.
Absolutely. And also he's a guest sometimes, of course, on a show about shows over at the Pierce Code channel. Here on Pierce Wrestling, you can catch this. You can catch Kayfabe Corner, where I talk to some of the workers here in the Florida wrestling scene. Just had a great episode with Sideshow, had a great one with Ron Neiman recently. I believe we have Michael Patrick of the Dirty Blondes from MLW, your favorite company, coming up here pretty soon, and so much more. And one day when Don makes his debut, I'll interview him as well, because I know you getting those tights ready, man.
I'm retired. What are you talking about, man?
Tired
from the Naples Wrestling Federation that I was in way back in high school when you were just a youngster. I was the world heavyweight champion multiple times over, and if you ever want to talk about my days at the top of the Naples Wrestling Federation, you let me know about that.
Well, because it went defunct for a while, but then it came back, the NWF, and the last champion is right here, baby. So I'm just saying, I believe I'm a 3 or 4 time champion. NWF. I should find. There's a couple matches I have on VHS of us wrestling. I'll dig those out and make you pay me in order not to release them online. I never labeled it because I don't want mom and dad to find out. So that was Kayfabe Chats, ladies and gentlemen. Vote The Rock for president. And don't remember, I love you more than you'll ever know.